Hi, welcome everyone to another one of our hot-powered, inspiring interviews. As you know, every time we bring an inspiring expert, an entrepreneur, and speaker to share their greatest best practices and inspiration with you and wisdom with you, so you can bring your own speaking and your own business to a different level. And today we have an amazing friend that I've known quite a while, and we've even done interviews before, and our audience loves her to come back again and again. So today we have with us again Jennifer Yu, and she's the #1 international best-selling author of Unstuck: The Physics of Getting Out of Your Own Way. She's also the CEO of The Wide Awakening and an expert in bridging the gap between science and spirituality. The gift of holographic vision allows her to see what's in your way so you can fully live your life and move from surviving to thriving. Her experiential programs, advanced guidance, and global community agents of awakening are designed to fast track your dreams and help you find your flow. Well, she's also spoken in so many places, and she's spoken on stages, radio, and TV worldwide. And I'm so happy to have you with us again, Jennifer, today. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. It's yummy.
Yes, it is. And I know that you wrote this amazing, juicy book as well. And I'm sure you're going to tell us more about how to get unstuck, right? But why don't
Oh
you?
yeah. Well, I'm grateful to have gotten it finished. In these times of such polarity and change,
Mm,
I knew that a lot of people were feeling it really was a book in service to what's going on in the world. It's just such an intense time, and everything that's happening outside of us also affects us in our families. It affects us in our business. It affects us with our mood, with our motivation to do. People can start to feel a little bit down or hopeless, and it's not necessary. It really, there's much that we can do.
yes. And let's talk about what we can do. And I know that besides being such an inspiration to so many people, you're also running your own business, obviously very successful. It keeps growing,
Yes.
even in these challenging times. And why don't you tell us what are 3 of your best practices that help you bring your own business to a different level right now?
Well, one of my best practices, I don't know if this ever happens to you, but do you ever get those moments where you're just witnessing what's going on in the world, and your motivation or your feeling of like having energy for what you're up to starts to wane, even though you know inside that you love it, right? And
Well, I
so,
don't have that exact feeling, but I feel that a lot of entrepreneurs feel like there's so much happening in the world that,
yeah,
if we put it on our own shoulders, it gets quite heavy.
yeah,
Keeping our
yeah,
focus on what impact we really want to make sometimes gets a little muddled, right? So, yeah.
absolutely. So a lovely, so there are many teachers that I love out there, but one of the teachers I really love, his name is Dan Sullivan, and he has a practice that he's refined a practice I was already doing. And that practice is one of measuring backwards to see how far I've come. So every day, what I'm looking for, what I collect evidence for, is what is working. So I have an evidence journal for what worked that day, what actually worked, what happened that I appreciate, that consciousness, the world, life actually allowed me to experience. And I collect evidence for that every night before I go to bed. So that's one of the practices, is creating an evidence journal, which that is a beautiful idea by Leslie or by my dear friend, Miss Ledwell, Natalie Ledwell. And 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 so I use that every single day. So that's the first thing. The second practice I have is that I use I itemize my days. I actually compartmentalize my days. So what happens is Monday is a day for strictly connection to people, connection with colleagues, connection with people I'd like to do joint ventures with, or people that I want to connect with. Tuesdays are my team meeting days, so I meet with my whole team. Wednesday and Thursday are my client days. And Friday is what I like to call a free day. I get to do whatever I want, and it could be business, but it could be fun, or it could be whatever. But it's totally free and up to me to decide what I do, so that I have this feeling of, oh, it's wide open. So, and then on the weekends, again, I am having a me day on Saturday, and I'm having a relationship day on Sunday. So it's another practice that I have, because I find if I don't do that, what happens is things just steamroller me, you know. A final practice is very in alignment with the work that we do here at The Wide Awakening. And that practice has to do with the laws of physics. And the laws of physics say that it isn't so much about now this is going to shake some people's trees. So I'm just warning everybody, but I'm all about shaking trees, mostly because I know my life wouldn't be the way it is now if I hadn't understood it. You know, I went through a huge period of frustration, and this practice came out of this huge period of frustration where I felt like I was spending money and my time fixing myself. And I'm like, I am really through eating like a bird, trying to do cleanses for the rest of my life. Like, God did not guide the universe, did not make me this way. I just know it. So this is where that practice, this current practice that I'm going to share came from. It's like, how do I actually live in expansive yesness? How do I fly forward? So I realized that it is not your intention so much that guides what comes to us. My intention does not guide what comes to me. It is actually my frequency that guides what comes to me. Now, some people get frustrated when I say that. So what I do every single day, all day long, without exception, is I mind my frequency. I set a little alarm on my phone every 3 hours, and I check in on a scale of 0 to 10. Where's my frequency? A better way to say frequency might be mood. Like, where's my energy? Where's my vibe? And I check in. So right now, as I'm talking to you, I say that my vibe's at like 9.5, right? But let's say so I will not settle for anything less than 7.5. That's my rule. 7.5 or below, not good. Got to do something. And so then what I do is I go out, I garden, I go for a walk. I will do anything, because I know that everything comes to me based on my frequency. So if my frequency isn't good, there's no point in doing any work, because otherwise it's going to be struggle and effort and all of these things. And I'm not really interested in working that hard, you know? And that's what was happening when I first invented this particular exercise. So yeah, so that's me.
Love that, love that. And so let's talk about each of them in a little more detail, like, measuring backwards. How does that help you to advance what you do and the outcomes you create with your business?
Well, what happens in my business when some people might say that exercise sounds like a gratitude exercise. I'm just grateful for what happened that day. However, in business, as you know, and the cool thing is, maybe I get to find out more about you right now. I don't know. Do you actually look at measurable results? Do you find things to measure?
Of course.
Right. So how many people, for instance, joined our Facebook group that particular day or
business,
week?
right? A lot of people look at their income, at the number of their clients,
Sure.
Whatever their LinkedIn contacts or whatever else, right? It's a lot of measurable things.
Yeah, we're looking at the sales we made that day or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but it can also be, we had a great workout, so today, instead of lifting this much weight, I lift that much weight, or I went for a 45-minute walk instead of a half-hour walk. So there are measurable things. What's interesting about this paradigm is that when you measure backwards, you're looking at things that you can specifically say, yes, that happened, so that your ego, which is very diabolical, will not come back at you and go, oh, that's a little fluffy. Did you really do that? Did you really? Did you? And so when we do specific results, when we measure specific results backwards, based on what happened that day, there's no getting away from what happened. You can't make up that something else happened, right? There's only that, no, actually, this thing that I'm looking at really did happen. I'm not making it up. So for me, what that does is it creates a spark of, oh, well, would you look at me? And your ego can't grab a hold of it and refute it.
Is it like a spark of achievement, or what kind of spark are you talking about?
It's a spark of reminding oneself that one is actually truly moving forward, especially when you're going through one of those more tough times. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like sometimes things get hard in business. And when this tool is invaluable, it's invaluable when times get hard, because you can't undo something that actually really happened. You can't unwind that. So the point is, it gives you a bunch of evidence that your forward focus is actually working when in times of toughness. So it's a resilience exercise, really, for me. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you maybe give an example of a concrete story of when did you use it? Maybe when you faced a challenging moment, and how did it help you forward?
Oh, absolutely. So for instance, in one of our programs called Flight School. So this is imagine that it's a very high-end program. It's people work with us for 8 months. It's an intensive. It's where we're embodying, and I have to say this because I want to make sure you have the context of what was going on at the time. So people are embodying laws of physics so that everything absolutely has the capacity to flow in their life. Right? And so we're working hard at that. I noticed that people are working a little harder than they probably need to. And I'm thinking to myself, what are we going to do there? What are we going to do for these people? So we started to write down together as a group these measurable, these ideas of what can we measure. So I started to I created a measurement chart. The measurement chart measures like your mood, your motivation, your sense of well-being, whether you have headaches, whether you had more energy or less at the end of the day, whether you woke up inspired. And these were, we were measuring the degree to which we figured out parameters that actually gave people a sense of fulfillment, the parameters for having meaning, the parameters for knowing that they're making a contribution, the parameters for letting them know that they're actually living a life that leaves them fulfilled and happy. And as we went through the exercise, what I noticed was that for me, something changed. For me, something changed, and it was a really big deal. As we started measuring the parameters, I realized that I had a pretty fulfilling, meaningful life, and that I was taking it deeply for granted. deeply for granted at the time. And that the question that I asked those students at the beginning of the course, and I'll ask everybody here that question, I'll ask you too. I ask it at the beginning of every year in a really big way, but I ask it at the beginning of every week all the time. And it goes like this. It's actually part of the book. What is the most fulfilling thing that I can do, that you can do, that would net the most meaningful results, that would leave me with more energy every day when I wake up, that would have me utilizing my life the most efficiently, that would make the greatest contribution to the world. So it's a big question, it's no joke. So as we looked at that, the answer, that's when we came up with this exercise of, okay, every month, what we're going to do at the end of the month is we're going to start to measure and do a before and after of some of these emotional components to our lives so that we can start to see whether we're actually feeling different. We're actually feel more fulfilled. Like that is actually an outcome of what it is that we're up to here. And lo and behold, my dear, it was so interesting that as we started to measure our results in our emotionality and measure our results in our business, what happened is they would play off of each other. The more fulfilled that we felt emotionally, and the more we did the work in physics to notice that we were being more efficient and that we were more on purpose, the more our emotions would change. And then we would notice that, of course, the specific measurable results in our businesses would also change. And lo and behold, it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It was like a self-perpetuating loop of being more efficient, being more fulfilled, being more happy. Because what's the point? I don't really adhere to this whole idea of, for instance, how they work in Silicon Valley, that it's all about just getting it done and dog eat dog and let's go and God, we got to accomplish stuff. What's the point of accomplishing anything if you're not happy?
And I think again, an important thing is, as you're saying, and as you talk about self-fulfilling prophecy, right? When you feel like what you're doing has a purpose,
yes,
and you're more energized, when when you feel like, more fulfilled every single day as you keep asking these deeper questions.
Yeah.
Of course, it moves things forward in a much lighter, joyful, easy, flowy way, right?
Of course.
Yeah. Sounds amazing. Great. So, you shared with us a couple of things already you do on a regular basis. I still like to know, like, what is one thing, what is a habit that, you do on a regular basis that beyond the three, things that you already do, what is an additional habit that stands out for you that you feel like helps you to not just survive, but keep striving in a most powerful way to stay unstuck and moving forward?
I would say that the greatest habit that I do is so it's not so much it's a habit, but it is that measurement, that daily measurement of 0 to 10, where am I at, and not letting myself get under 7.5. And then what I did here, I'm going to expand upon that habit because there's actually more to it. I actually made a list of 11 things, just because I like the number 11, not for any other reason, of 11 things that I can do to raise my frequency up so that I can stay a magnetic mat. Okay. I always remember that in talking about our work, not everybody understands it. So I want to make sure that everyone has a context for this particular habit. It's very important to kind of have that context. The context is this, that what physics says is this, that nothing has to be hard. That literally where you vibrate, where your mood is at, where your frequency is at, is a complete predictor of what you're going to receive, the degree to which you receive, the degree to which people resonate with your mission, the degree to which people want to work with you, the degree to which you are blessed by, miraculous outcomes from, all that is from creator consciousness. All of that stuff comes because of your frequency, and the stuff that comes is the quality of it, the value of it is completely based on the degree to which you feel blessed in your life, right? So the reason I am giving this particular one is I think that it is the one habit that has given me the most benefit. So I made a list of things that raise my frequency, things to do that raise my frequency, of 11 things. Do you want to know what they are?
Yeah, I'm very curious.
Okay. So now everyone's list is different. My list is going to be different from anybody else's.
Top 3. What are your top 3 out of the 11?
My top 3. So my top 3 are going for a walk in nature. My second to top is actually to listen to something inspirational. So listen to someone I have a whole stored file of inspirational audios that I go and listen to, authors and people that I've listened to that just put me right back in my heart. And the last one has to do with phoning a friend. Those are probably the top 3 things I mostly do. A friend. So for me, who a friend is someone who knows who you are when you forget.
Yeah.
And they relentlessly remember. They will never forget. They literally almost have made a pact with you that that's who they are for you. So I'll call up a colleague or a good friend, and that's my third one.
I love that. And I love the description of a friend. And I think also, we need people like that in our business too, right? People that never forget who we are when we do, right?
Indeed.
So, yeah.
I'm very blessed that my colleagues are actually also my friends. So so my general manager is one of my best friends, and we've developed, most of my team has worked with me for over 8 or 9 years. So
great.
Yeah, deep connection. Yeah, me too.
I know. There's people that say, you should keep your friends and your business separate from each other. I don't agree at all. I think that it needs to go hand in hand. Otherwise, how can you be in flow, right? Anyhow, so we always like to, invite everyone that is with us right now and is watching this right now and feels inspired by everything we share. We like them to take a concrete action, so they're not just walking away being inspired, but they really also take action on one thing and make that a little bit of a challenge, and really to start shifting things for them as well. So what is the one action that you would like, everyone that is here with us today, what is the action you would like them to take to bring everything for them, for them as well, and their business to the next level?
Fantastic. So I'm going to ask everyone to do exactly that thing that I just shared, which is set an alarm. Now, it doesn't have to be every 3 hours like me. Maybe it could be twice a day. It doesn't matter. But the more you start to do this, the more miraculous your life starts to get. So, it's really up to you. So for me, it's every 3 hours, and start practicing and noticing where your frequency goes to. And, how you're navigating life that day. So make a list, and we can start with 3 things that you would do when your frequency goes down. Set a timer, and then ask yourself, where would I put myself right now? Am I like a 9.5, like we talked about in the interview, or am I like a 3? Because if I'm a 3, I got to do something. Everything's going to be hard. And who wants stuff to be hard? Right? Exactly. So it goes against the laws of physics. Things will not work for you. It's just that simple. It's such a simple exercise. So I think that's going to be our action step. I think it's a really powerful one.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm definitely going to play along, Jennifer. Okay. So I think it's such a powerful action, and start with 3 things you can do to actually lift your energy up again, and eventually you might end up with a list of 11 or even more, and you can pick and choose, right? And again,
Yeah.
you can even make it playful, right? And maybe even pull one of those right out of a box from time to time and just do that, right?
When we
So
first did that, Monique, what was really interesting is that when we first did that exercise in flight school, what happened was within 2 weeks, I filled the next year's flight school. That had never happened to me before.
amazing.
So the other thing that happened is that, oh yeah, the other thing that happened, I was trying to think, there were 2 really amazing things that happened in my business. The other thing that happened was that a half of those flight school participants became long-term one-on-one clients, which had never happened before. So all these miraculous results started to happen just as a result of doing something very similar to what we're sharing today. So
I love that.
yeah, me too.
I love that. And I invite every one of you that are here with us. And by the way, thank you for being so loyal and, always watching our interviews. Take advantage of it. Okay. Let's bring everything to a different level by just, again, doing it in a playful way, right? Set your alarm at least twice a day, ideally every 3 hours, and just check in with you and then do one of the things that really lift you up. And I so resonate with you, Jennifer, again, right? The more we do things that bring us into that space, into that frequency,
Mm-hmm.
all things flow so easily.
Yeah, and
Beautiful.
they should.
And they should, of course.
Yeah,
And I know that you and I could keep talking about all of these things for a
of
long time
course.
to come, but, or even for hours. And I know that will keep our energy high, right? But I know that a lot of people that are watching us today would love to connect with you, are probably curious to find out about your book. Where can they find you? How can they connect with you?
The best way to connect with me is through the TWA Playground. It's called the TWA Playground that's the Wide Awakening, by the way, on Facebook. I'm on there all the time, answering questions, connecting with people, inspiring, doing Facebook Lives. But the best way to stay in connection always is thewideawakening.com/3 and days, and you'll get a few of our activations as a result that will help you find your flow. So
Right.
yeah.
I love that. Thank you for being generous. And I definitely also invite all of you to start checking out Jennifer's book, Unstuck, right? And I know there's a lot of juicy hints and tips of what else you can do to really bring yourself into the frequency and make your business step up in an easy and joyful and flowy way.
There,
Okay.
yeah, there are actually exercises. Much how practical you are is what I love, Monique. It's just so great.
Mhm.
And so the book has exercises for every chapter to apply. So I love that about you.
Great. Okay. So again, thank you, Jennifer, for being on with us today again. Do you want to run it off with a final inspiring message from your side?
I would say the issue in this world, the issue in your life is never the issue. It's not the issue. That you make it the issue is more of the issue. So be very conscious about what you make the issue in your life. It matters.
I love it. And again, there's so many amazing juicy ways of how to step out of this and bring it to a different level and just again enjoy life. Okay, feel good about you, feel good about your business. And again, that will bring everything to a different level. Thank you, thank
Absolutely.
you, thank you so much for being on with us, Jennifer. Always love to have you. Thank you for watching our interview today. I'm sure you picked up some golden nuggets and some hints. Start playing with it. Okay, start checking in on your frequency or on your mood if you prefer to use that word. Create your list of 3 to 11 points that bring you to a different energy and frequency again. And again, in our heart powered global nation, let us know what is happening as you do. We always, we cheer you on, right? And we want to know how you're applying things and what is shifting as a result of it. So thank you for being on with us today, and Jennifer and everyone. And as I always say at the end of it, keep doing your magic in your own powerful way. Speak up, scale up, impact the world. And we'll be back with another interview very soon. However, for now, just go and rock it and take the action as discussed. So all the best for now. We'll be back soon. All the best for now.
Thank you.